$1 million? Not enough? He said, raising a brow while you shook your head, already shocked by the amount as you have never expected this much even in your dreams. That's a lot. I mean, are you sure you want to give $1 million to someone who is here for a job as a caretaker? You noticed him and the secretary exchanging glances before he turned his face towards you and sighed. I just want you to perform your job correctly and honestly. Don't worry, sir. That's my job and I assure you I won't disappoint you. He nodded. I'm trusting you and I also want you to be careful because this job isn't going to be easy as you think. My son has anger issues and considering the fact that he's a mafia, you know what he's capable of doing. It's hard to get through it, but I'll hire bodyguards for your safety and you don't need to worry about anything, but still. Don't worry about anything, sir. This is not a new thing for me. In fact, I have dealt with worse people in the past. He smiled and nodded. Don't worry about your mother's operation and medical fees. I'll cover that up too. Just focus on your work from today. He nodded and gave a bow. Thank you so much. He nodded and got up. He lives in this house so you can explore by your own according to you. You nodded and got up as well. Then they both left and you exhaled heavily. Even if I have to risk my life, I would do anything for you, Mom. You are the only family I have. Please don't give up. Your eyes were shining like glitters holding so many tears in them. You wiped your tears and took a deep breath before looking around. Let's see what these 6 months bring in my life. A mafia with anger issues and addiction. Deadly, but I have become an expert. You said with a chuckle and decided to explore the house on your own. Who the hell has dared to touch my stuff? The anger spikes in when you find all the drinks inside his fridge replaced with bottles of soda and soft drinks along with fresh juices. He called one of his bodyguard and was looking horrible because he hates someone else's touch on his stuff. That's why there's no maids or servants in the house. The bodyguard came in and his body language was telling how terrified he is. He lowered down his head when Jungkook walked towards him. Who touched this house? Did Dad come? The bodyguard spoke in a shaky voice. Yes, boss, and he also brought an addiction psychiatry, who is going to be your new caretaker. Jungkook's brows frowned together. He hates it. Even after knowing that the two of them already lost their lives in order to cure mine, the bodyguard gulped because he witnessed their tragic death in front of his eyes. And where is that? Here. He turned back after hearing your voice, and for the first time you saw that he won't be someone easy to handle. You uncrossed your arms and walked near him with so much confidence because you didn't want to show him that he scared you. He tilted his head and chuckled, exactly looking like a psycho, and it would be a lie if you say he didn't scare you, but you have learned to handle such situations very well. A beauty in a beast's house. And he started to laugh like a psycho. Calling yourself a beast, behaving like a psycho. Isn't it depressing, lonely and mentally draining? His smile slowly faded and he returned his dark gaze at you. Then I should show it to you. And in the next second, he grabbed your neck before choking you. The bodyguard stepped to help you, but you signed him to stop. Never interfere in my life if you want to live yours. I won't spare your life just because you are a girl. Your eyes started to become red as you were facing trouble in breathing. You grabbed his hand and then something happened to him. He removed his hands and stepped back while you grabbed the kitchen counter before coughing and trying to catch your breath. Get out of this house if you want to live, and he walked towards his room angrily. The bodyguard came near you concerningly. Are you okay? You nodded. Don't worry, I'll be okay. He becomes a monster when he's angry. I would advise you to be careful, or you can even quit because the previous 2 caretakers have to give up on their lives. He killed them. You smiled at him. Don't worry, I won't end up being a 3rd one. He nodded. You looked upstairs towards his room. Jungkook came in his room and threw a vase towards the TV, but luckily it didn't break and the vase shattered into pieces when it hit the floor. He has a cupboard specially designed to hold his drinks. He took one bottle and opened the cap before gulping it down. When he is angry, his addiction becomes insane. He mostly relies on drinks to erase the loneliness from his life. Whenever he feels like that emotions are taking over him, he drinks until he passes out. Your words again echoed inside his mind, and he took another gulp, and in seconds he finished the bottle. You will soon regret choosing this. One over another, he completely drowned himself in drinks and passed out. The next day, he woke up and noticed that all the bottles that he emptied last night was gone. He came in the kitchen to have more. His breakfast, lunch and even the dinner consist of alcohol only. It's not like he never tried to get over it, but he was never able to. His eyes fell on you who was setting the dinner table. As soon as you saw him coming, you welcomed him with a warm smile. Good morning. You looked at the watch and then at him. You made it to wake up 1 minute before 12. He walked near the table and saw a variety of dishes served on the table. I told you to leave. Seems like you don't love yourself much. You looked at him. That's not the case. I do love myself a lot and that's why I take care of myself. But there's one more thing. I have taken money from your dad. I won't leave until I finish my job. And what if you won't be alive to finish your job? Why do you always talk about death and killing? There's a life outside that too, and it's so much more beautiful than this, like this food you would love to eat. He did not understand why your words were so powerful for him. He would have literally killed it if there was someone else in place of you and dared to talk to him like this much. You are here just for money, he said, walking towards the fridge, but stopped and looked at you when you said something that made his stone heart skip a beat. Not really, I'm here for you. He closed the door of the fridge and walked near you. You didn't move, nor did the smile leave your face. He came dangerously close to you. And why so? Do I even know you or you know me? You smiled. I'm your caretaker and you are my patient that I want to cure. I hope that's enough for you to know me. Seeing your fearless behavior, he was already impressed and he would love to see you in this house. He wanted to see how honest you are with your words because he's the one who's going to decide the ending. So you are calling me a patient. Bold of you to have that much audacity. I can call you by your name as well, if you don't like it, Mr. Jungkook. He looked in your eyes and the way you maintained the eye contact was making him fond of you. Never in his life he liked someone for more than a minute if they are lucky, and here you are. Effortlessly making him feel different for you. Breakfast? You said, breaking the awkwardness while he stepped back. Just put my drinks back in the fridge. I can't. They were already flushed in the toilet. He frowned. You extended a glass of freshly made orange juice. Try this instead. He slapped the glass and it dropped from your hand before breaking into pieces on the floor while the floor stained with orange juice. Don't try to cross your limits. And he walked away from there. I know that you won't be easy to handle. You were preparing the medicines to give him. It was obvious that he won't take them, so injecting them would be a better option. You contacted the rehab center and they already instructed you how to start with it. Before any counseling or therapy, it's important to detox his body, and for that you have to make sure he won't be able to consume alcohol. He's not someone who is willing to cure his addiction, and on top of that, his anger issues can make it more dangerous for you. You also have to prepare to bear those side effects because consuming less or no alcohol can make him crazy for a few days. He can be more aggressive because of all those side effects. Jungkook came back home. He smiled when he saw you and dragged his feet towards you. By looking at the way he was walking, you already know he's drunk. I almost forgot that I'm going to be welcomed by a beautiful woman. He finally reached near you and you could smell alcohol on him. Seriously, I don't know why, but I kind of like you. Yeah, you asked me if it's depressing or lonely to be a beast, right? What would you do if I say yes? You were sure that even he doesn't have any idea what he was saying, and he would never admit all this when he is in his senses. You flinched a little when he slid his hand around your neck as you felt his cold finger on your warm skin. Will you give me a reason to never feel that way? He was leaning close to kiss you, but you removed his hand from your neck and stepped back, making him stumble upon. Surely I will. You just have to cooperate with me and trust me. You were trying to make him sit on the couch so you can start the medicine, but he wasn't ready to sit. Jungkook, come to your senses. You are just ruining your life and nothing. He stopped and looked at you. And how do you know what I'm doing? Why do you care about me? You made him sit on the couch and bend down to his level. Because I know what it feels to ruin your life like this. You might not realize it now, but one day you'll be begging for a chance. You'll beg to correct your mistakes. Your eyes teared up while you were saying all this. It's like you have had a personal experience, and not just because you have seen people like him or treated them, but something more deep than that. Are you crying? He said, tilting his head. Maybe no one noticed that he is not that cruel mafia once he loses himself in alcohol. He is really lonely. You wiped your tears and picked the injection from the table while he frowned. What are you going to do? Just trust me. He resisted, but then you grabbed his hand and held them in your, which immediately calmed him. When he felt your soft skin, he doesn't know what happened to him, but he became calm. You looked at him while caressing his hand. I will be so happy if I am able to cure you even 50%, and then you yourself will want to be cured. Your words, touch, your eyes, and the way he was watching your lips moving while you were saying something to him was making him go in the state of peace. It's like you did some kind of magic on him, but the reason was no one has ever treated him this way. He slightly pulled back his hand when you insert the needle in his skin. What the hell are you doing? Don't worry, everything is okay. After injecting the medicine inside, you slowly pulled the needle out and rubbed the place where you insert the needle and smiled at him. It won't hurt and you will be alright. Fighting, you said with a soft smile and got up before picking up the first aid box and walked away. Jungkook could still feel your touch. His heart was beating and he was actually feeling it. That was surprising for him as well. Jungkook. You rushed to him when you saw he suddenly fell on the floor. He grabbed his head and moving his legs as if he is suffering from an unbearable pain. You quickly sat down and knew that he had a seizure. You knew it would come as it's one among the side effects of that medication. You held his head and put it on your lap before trying to calm him. Jungkook, it's okay, I'm here. His movements started to get violent, but you grabbed his hands to calm him. It was so hard to stop a person who is twice your strength. You unbuttoned a few buttons of his shirt to make it easy for him to breathe. After some time, he seems to get unconscious and some liquid came out in his mouth. You rolled him to the other side so it could come out. Then you checked his pulses to make sure if everything is okay or not, otherwise you have to call the ambulance, but he was alright. He called a bodyguard and asked him to bring Jungkook into his room. You got up and could feel your hands trembling. Now you are used to all these things, but you still remember the day when this happened to your mom in front of your eyes. From that day she is in coma and you still pray for her to wake up again. Just like Jungkook, she was also an addict. After she found out that your dad was having an affair with another woman and one day he left both of you while she developed a habit of drinking. You bear all that from childhood, and when you almost lost your mother, you decided to become an addiction psychiatry. You wanted to cure such addicts so that the same thing doesn't happen with them. You came in the room. Jungkook already came back to his conscious. You felt relaxed, but now his face was dead serious. He turned his face towards you when you came inside. How are you feeling now? He didn't respond. You came near him and poured some water in a glass before extending towards him. Take this medicine. It will help you. He didn't move, just his red eyes fixed on you. He was angry and you know that by seeing his face. Jungkook. He got up and threw the glass from your hand before pushing you on the bed and then hovered above you while his one hand choking you. You are just here to kill me, right? Now I know that you are not different but even worse than them. So you will get what you deserve. You were trying to remove his hand because this time he wasn't in his control and you felt like you'll pass out. You were shaking your head. I told you that you'll regret choosing this, and now